What's going on, guys? My name's Bradshaw, and here I have a full slew of adventure motorcycle tires behind me. Now, the last couple years have been really weird. Chaparral laid me off at the beginning of 2020, and I did some interesting stuff with the TKC 70 Rocks and continued some tire testing throughout the pandemic. And then the entire 2021, I was here at Motor City Power Sports. It's been a phenomenal venture. And over that last year and a half or so, since I left Chaparral Motorsports, I've had over 50,000 questions from you guys about adventure motorcycle tires and about which one is best for you and your specific riding application and situation. So today, at the beginning of 2022, I want to take you on a walk through some of my favorite tires, and I'll pull out some of the key points of each of the tires that are back here. Now, there are none of these tires that are bad tires. Now, what I will say though, the Dunlop Trail Max Mission tire, they rate that thing as a 50/50. I have promoted it as a 50/50, but really looking at the rest of the tires here in the 50/50 segment, it really is more like a 70/30 in my opinion. Now, Dunlop's going to combat me on that one, but it is not quite as aggressive as the other tires here in the background. Now, when I'm doing my test, I use two tools. I use the durometer reader. This tells me how dense the tire rubber is, and this guy here is a tread depth indicator. This is a tire tread depth indicator. I push down like this, little spear comes out the bottom and tells me how deep the tread depth is. Now, originally I was measuring these things in American sizing. I was doing it in 32nds of an inch, and a lot of you guys yelled at me really loud and said I wanted them in millimeters as well, so I started doing that as well as 32nds of an inch. So today I want to talk about the tires. So the heaviest tire in the mix is going to be that Dunlop Trail Max Mission tire. It weighs in at over 20 pounds. Now, the lightest tire in the mix is going to be the TKC 80 right back over here. That TKC 80 is going to come in at right around 14 pounds. So we're talking about a 6-pound difference between the lightest tire in this adventure segment and the heaviest tire. Now, these are all on a 150/70/18 rear and a 90/90/21 front. That's going to be key. Getting the same size tire for these measurements is absolutely imperative. I would use each of these tires differently if I was going on a different type of ride. Now, if I wanted to get the best value for my dollar, I'd pick a Motaz tire. They give you the best traction you can possibly have at the best price point once you look at the amount of mileage you get out of the type of traction that you get out of these tires. It really is phenomenal. Now, I've seen some crazy mileage numbers out of the Trail Max Mission tire, but again, it's 5 pounds heavier than the lightest tire that we have out here, and that can cause a problem on some of the lighter adventure motorcycles that you guys are riding. Now, a couple tires I do not have here currently in the background. That's going to be the Kenda big block, and I don't have the Shinko E804, 805. Those are two of the least expensive tires in the segment, and they do a phenomenal job. So really quick, I want to jump into this comparison right here. Let me lift these guys up. Pull the Trail Max Mission out in front. Now, I think that the best direct comparison to this Trail Max Mission is going to be the Motaz Tractionator GPS tire. This is a 50/50 tire, run one direction because the grooves slide this direction, and then you can flip it and you can run it this way, and it turns into a mostly off-road tire. And the reason for that is you now have lots of leading edges that are going to provide more bite. Now, if you take a look at both of these tires, the Dunlop is extremely round. It's also the hardest compound, and it is the heaviest tire. This tire here is about 1.5 pounds heavier than the GPS tire of the same size. When I hold these tires up, I can absolutely feel the difference in weight between the two. Now, another thing you're going to notice is the actual curvature of the tire itself. Again, these are the same size tires. The round profile of the Dunlop Trail Max Mission tire here means that you're going to have less rubber actually making contact with the road. That's going to allow this tire to have less rolling resistance, and it's going to allow it to wear significantly longer. Now, the GPS tire is made of a silica/natural rubber compound. It's got very deep tread depth. I mean, the tread depth on this tire as compared to the Trail Max Mission, let's take a quick look. Trail Max Mission is running in at millimeters. What do we have here? Looks like we have 10 millimeters on the Trail Max Mission, and we have about 12 millimeters on the GPS tire here from Motaz. That's an extra 2 millimeters of rubber that you get on the GPS that you don't have on the Dunlop. Now, because the GPS is a flatter tire profile, you're gonna have more rubber on the ground. Just some of the things to take a look at between these two tires here. Now, when we go to the next more aggressive set of tires than these, let's take a look over here real quick. Now, before we do that, let me take a look at this tire right here. This is the Continental TKC 70 Rocks tire. Now, this is a Continental TKC 70 tire that they've gone ahead and cut grooves across the center here, giving it some great bike grip scenario that you didn't have with the 70 tire that had a center strip down the middle. Now, the center strip that you find in that GPS tire can be problematic when you get into crazy mud or gravel roads where you want to stop and you have not yet aired down. And that's where this 70 Rocks tire kind of comes in. It is a more street-oriented tire, but it does better off-road than some of the other tires that are more aggressive per se, because of the multiple leading edges that this tire has. So on this particular tire, you have leading edges here in the center, here on the side, and then all the way over here on the shoulder. You can see that the actual contact patch of this tire is relatively flat. So you have all of these leading edges touching the ground and providing forward momentum. That is very, very different than a tire, say, like the Cinco E805. That tire there has large grooves. You would think it would work really well, but there is a void all the way across the tire, and that allows that tire to slip in slippery situations. Not quite my favorite when it comes to the way these tires perform. Now, I was out in the mud just here on New Year's Day. I was on the 70 Rocks. A friend of mine was on the Cinco 805, and the Rocks performed exceedingly better than that of the 805. And that, I think, it has to do with the actual bite that this tire has when it comes to putting traction down into the dirt. I would actually put this guy really on the same page as these other two tires that we just talked about earlier. Now, when we get to the next step, to the actual probably 60-40 tire or even 70-30 tire, 70% dirt and 30% street, we're going to be talking about the Adventure tire, the TKC 80, the Bridgestone AX41. These are all going to be those tires that I'm going to, and even the Karoo 3. All right, so if somebody said, what is your favorite adventure motorcycle tire? It would probably be one of these tires here in front of me right now. Now, forever, the TKC 80 was the go-to tire. It was the only tire that fit my BMW R200 GSA to begin with. And then we had the, I want to say the Karoo 3 was released next. And then the Anarchy Wild was released. And then the Motaz was released. And then the Bridgestone AX41. There's lots of options when we come to the tires here in the segment. Now, the TKC 80 has been around for a long, long time. Like I said, it was the very first tire that gave you that 50-50 traction out of the gate for my 950 Super Enduro, for my GSA. This was the go-to tire. It was the only tire that was available. Now, the problem with this tire is it got only 1,500, 1,200, maybe 1,700 miles before this thing was completely kaput. So, it was years later that I ran into my buddy Brian Cornelius, who said, hey, look, I got this tire. It's from Motaz. He gave me a Desert HT. I ran it on the 950, and I got 4,000 miles out of the tire. It blew my mind. Fast forward to 2000 and I want to say 15, 16. He gave me a set of, an inaugural set of the Adventure tires from Motaz. He said, hey, I need to test these. I have two different tread compounds. I have a summer compound, a winter compound in this Adventure format. I ran this guy for 5,000 miles and barely got down to the wear bars. Phenomenal tire when it comes to mileage. Now, if you look at the tread depth between the Motaz Adventure and the TKC 80, tread depth that you get out of the Motaz tire is almost 1/4 of an inch deeper than you get out of the TKC 80. So fast forward 2 years, Metzler comes out with this guy here, the Karoo 3. I put this guy on my BMW and am blown away. The way that these tread pattern here is scalloped, this acts like a paddle tire. I was able to run this tire for about 3,500 miles and it worked amazingly. Now the only problem that I have with this tire is because of the paddle tire shape. When I got on the throttle, the back end would kind of slide out a little bit. So I had to get used to that. But overall, it was a great tire, performed well, and did an amazing job. Much better in longevity and overall traction than I found out of the TKC80. Now at that time, this Motaz tire wasn't available for the BMW, only the KTM, and that's where my experience between those tires lasted. Following this tire, Michelin came out with the Anarchy Wild tire. Now this tire really blew people's minds. The side of each of these lugs is scalloped, so each of these lugs kind of move independently. They were able to take the TKC80 individual lug technology, and they're able to break it out and allow people to get 4,000 to 5,000 miles out of a knobby tire. Mind-boggling when it comes to the amount of mileage that you can get out of an Anarchy Wild tire. Now this is the most motocrossy of the lug patterns that we have in all of this series. You see that the blocks themselves are separated. They're like an island all to themselves. There's lots of space in between, sideways of each of these, or laterally each of these lugs. The amount of space that you get, or void that you get, between these lugs is really huge. And that makes this tire perform exceedingly well. Now again, because these lugs move independently and they're not cast directly into the tire like you see on the TKC80 or even this Karoo 3, you get a lot more cooling that happens with these lugs, and you get a lot more mileage out of the Anarchy Wild than you get out of most of the other full knobby tires. Now fast forward another 2 years, we have the Bridgestone AX41 tire. Now I saw this guy at a trade show, and basically the Bridgestone rep said, if you're looking to get the most effective knobby tire on your adventure bike possible, this is going to be the tire, but it's not going to last you very long. Warning. Personally, I had one point in time had this on I had it on the 390, I had it on the 950, I had it on an Africa Twin, and I had it on my 1190, all at the same time. This tire performed super well in lots of characteristics. Now this tire here has the softest of sidewalls. So you take a look at the sidewall flex of this tire, it's really soft and nimble. The Anarchy Wild's probably the next, TKC80's probably third. When it comes to the Motaz tires, these things get super, super stiff and they're a bear to get onto your rim. So the Bridgestone, that soft sidewall, allows it to feel like a sport bike on the street. You get feedback from the road that you don't get on any of the other adventure tires. It really gives you this connection with the road, and it digs into the dirt and does a phenomenal job. But I get about 2,000 miles out of this tire and it's kaput. So that's the really main conundrum between all these adventure tires. You're looking for something that gives you amazing traction, feels great on the street, makes you dig out of any hole that you could possibly get into, and it's going to give you tons of mileage. And that's where we come to my personal, current, favorite adventure tire, and that's going to be this guy right here. This is the Motaz Rally tire. Let's pull this guy up into your vantage point here. We have the largest distance between blocks. We have offset lugs, so you get amazing side hill traction on this thing. You can see that the lugs here, as they come down around the side, they're also shifted so that when this lug misses, this lug catches. When this lug misses, this lug catches. It is a huge game changer when it comes to the amount of traction that you can get out of these tires. And that's what makes the Rally tire so much better than the adventure tire. The adventure tire has a large lug, small lug, large lug, small lug, and then the side lugs are kind of, I mean, they're in line and they are offset, but they're smaller in distance as far as the gap goes. And that allows this tire to have better mileage. So this tire here gets probably 1,500 to 2,000 more miles. I've heard up to 4,000 more miles over that of the Rally tire. And that's huge. If you're looking to maximize the amount of mileage you're getting, if you're riding from here across the country up into Alaska and back again, you legit could put a set of these tires on your bike and never have to change a tire while out there in the field. And that really is the conundrum, right? Like, if I was going to pick the more motocrossy tire. If I was going to run a motocross event on my adventure bike, I'd probably mount up the Aniki Wild. It performs exceedingly well in soft, loamy situations. It's going to give me the best bite that I possibly can have. It's going to wear average, and yeah, it's just going to perform really well. The AX41 would be a tire that if I was going to go race a racetrack and still want to ride some dirt roads on the way to or from, I'd run the AX41. If I was looking to do a full-on Alaska and back, it would be a Motaz tire for sure, probably the Adventure tire. I may be skeptical on whether the rally tire would make it there or not as far as mileage would go. I would like the off-road prowess of the rally tire, but I know that the Adventure tire would do me 100%. What have I missed here? I think I pretty much covered it, but it's just to speak to the tires here that I have in the foreground here. They all do an amazing job. Like, they all have their place. They all are amazing for a specific purpose or type of riding that you're doing. And if you're looking to get the most mileage possible, there's a tire. If you're looking to get the best traction possible, there's a tire. If you're looking to just run sand track, there's a tire. If you're looking to get the most mileage on road and then tickle a gravel road here and then, there's a tire for that too. If you have any questions about any of these tires, if you want to know the durometer reading, if you want to know the tread depth, if you want to know anything about these tires, please leave a comment down below. I'll be happy to personally answer that question for you. But yeah, like I said, I've had so many questions from you guys this year. I really wanted to put together a video for you kind of talking about those specifics. That there is my summary of adventure tires for 2022. If you have any questions, please leave a comment down below. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. It really, really helps, and hit the notification bell so you can be notified when I release a new video. And if you've gotten this far, that thumbs up button, the algorithm loves it, so please do that. Anyway, I'm Kyle Bradshaw. Thank you guys for watching. I've got big news here to share with you here in the future, so make sure you stay tuned. And until next time, take care and ride safe out there.